Today's business environment, privacy, keeping your client's private information private, not having it accessible to anyone else, has become a critical, serious issue. Identity theft and all of those situations where clients' information is becoming accessible, areas are being hacked, puts a lot of import on privacy rules and legislation. And as an advisor to clients, you have to ensure that their information is in fact held in the strictest confidence. And so there are two specific areas that we need to be familiar with respect to privacy legislation. So under the Federal Privacy Act, the Federal Privacy Act applies to all federal governments and their agencies. And the Privacy Act identifies and indicates to federal employees exactly how they can handle our personal information. For all of the rest of us who in fact are not working for the federal government or any of its agencies, we are subject to the privacy rules under the Personal Information Protection and Electronics Documents Act. You'll see the term PIPEDA, P-I-P-E-D-A, or some say PIPEDA. This is federal legislation that applies to all of us who are not working for the federal government or one of its agencies. And under PIPEDA, there are ground rules for how businesses may collect, use, and disclose personal information. And that applies to you as an advisor, as an insurance agent. There are rules in place with respect to what kind of information you can collect from your clients, how you must store that information, when you must get rid of that information, and we have rules in place that if you're working for any organization and company, you're going to have to follow those rules that they have in place with respect to your client's personal information. So you basically can only collect information that is relevant to the product that you're selling. In addition to that, when that information is no longer needed, you need to dispose of it. And if you have that information, you must in fact demonstrate that it's under lock and key and locked away and not accessible to anyone else in the office unless that person has been given the approval or they have a life insurance license and they're able to look at the client's information. Now, some provinces have filed their own privacy legislation, and so the provincial privacy legislation will supersede the federal government's PIPEDA. And so if your province happens to have its own privacy legislation, you must follow those rules and regulations. For other provinces that rely on the federal government legislation, then PIPEDA rules and regulations are going to apply to your situation. Now, every province has a privacy commissioner, and so if in fact your customer has a complaint, they're concerned that their privacy has been breached, they in fact can make a complaint to the privacy commissioner. So, Privacy Act applicable to federal government employees, PIPEDA to everyone else.